We hear women come up and talk about how successful they are and how intimidated men are, and they never say a word about their character. And I just can't help but think about how turned off women get when men lead with money and lead with accomplishment and end up having nothing but unavailability and coldness and lack of emotional development, because that unfortunately is what it takes to succeed in certain career fields. You can look it up. And for some reason, women think that the success that they've amassed has somehow happened without them becoming devoid of a lot of the personality and relationships that men are devoid of. And they flex their accomplishments and money the same way men do. And somehow we make it different every time. Every time. No disrespect to you, but you didn't say about being a good woman. Nothing.
Why
you didn't say no.
I'm just gonna,
all that, bro. Didn't say nothing about.
I can tell you what.
This is about a larger point. This is not about her as an individual. We don't hear I'm successful, I got my degree, and I've been in therapy the last 3 years working out my issues. I just bought a house, and I also identified my childhood trauma, and it took inventory over my baggage, and I got it out the way. Oh, also, I'm loyal. My time management is on point. I do what I say I'm going to do. I'm considerate. We never hear any of it. What I hear is when say that y'all act like, when men say that y'all have turned into alphas, what we're talking about is the worst parts of manhood. Y'all have taken it on. Now, the problem with men is that we won't admit that those are the worst parts of us too. But shorty, y'all have taken the worst parts of what it means to be successful, and y'all wear that like a badge. Look at what it's done to us. If you need an example of what it looks like to only live in your accomplishments, look at the black men around you. You in a city full of them. Look at how devoid they are. Look at what it took them to get to where they are. Look at how underdeveloped some of them are emotionally. This is what you want? Is this what we're gonna do, to let accomplishments be band-aids for that?
Yeah, so shout out to Trip. He be cooking. So I don't think it really spoke to the "are men intimidated by successful women" point. I think it spoke more to the a parallel that I kind of see between atypical personality types and relationships, and it's transcending gender in this context when he's saying the people that remove all the other things and barriers that inhibit you from reaching the most successful you can be, or the most educated you can be, and remove that relationship between interpersonal relationships. So you're not a better man, you're not a better woman, you don't know how to communicate on both sides, because he was paralleling it for both sides, the way I interpret it, right? And based off those things, even at the in-person event when we were speaking about, we talked about this, and I was saying, like, that's like your degree or your job or your paycheck don't make you a better mother, a better spouse, or a better sister, or a better husband. Like, those things just fulfill one part of a need, the materialistic need, or that portion of security where you have to provide a home, or you have to provide certain amenities in life. Yes, money can provide that in abundance. However, the other components that are required in life, if you put so much value in those that you forget, or you just completely ignore the other portions of that, then you'll create broken people. Speaking about children, or you'll break somebody within a relationship, or yourself will have a wound that you can't heal. I think, yeah, back to the initial point I was trying to make, I think that there is some type of a tie between people who are so extremely driven that they have to get to the tip top, that there's a hole on the inside of them from something. It could be childhood poverty, where they didn't feel like they were enough, and they have to succeed in order to just show their worth to the world, to provide some form of value. Or I also think that I can't say this for women, but sometimes in men, it might have something to do with a specific sexual gratification that they really need to reach the upper echelon to be able to request some really awkward fetish fires. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
All right. Anybody else got anything to add on this?
And all I can say is, it just seems like a lot of our. I just got to start doing a little bit of research on what does it mean to have a community. I mean, I did listen to Dr. Claude Anderson a little bit to how he defined it. Oh, it just seemed like when somebody say the community, it's always the worst part of all of our people. It just seems like it's the bottom. Like, where's your assistance going to? And it seems like putting it at that point is not fixing anything. It almost feel like it's enabling it, because now you got a place to sit in comfort in your demise. And the more people know that, yeah, well, these people are going to go out and have careers to come back and take care of us. I get it. We have to take care of our own, but I still think that even though people try to use slavery, I still think at some point between the time we got off of the fields, and I would say as early as the 1920s, that we conquered it. You know what I'm saying? We conquered it. Families were even staying together at a higher rate whenever they was coming off of the fields than they are now. I would say we conquered having the nuclear family all the way up until maybe the Great Society Act. But to say that slavery has a plague on the family today, I think we do. I think Black people should get a little bit more credit to say that we defeated that motherfucker. We defeated all of that way back then. We just dealing with a whole bunch of other shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's saying our family is failing because of that. No, man.
So Darwin, let me ask you this. Can divorce have an effect on the kids?
Yeah.
Can that kid grow up to not want to get married based off the divorce?
He can.
Can that kid raise a child who doesn't believe in having a man in the house?
Can a kid raise a child?
Can the divorced parent has a daughter? Well, that daughter who raises a child who doesn't see the need for a man because she's hurt by the divorce, is it likely that she'll raise another daughter who looks at men as not useful and that she doesn't need one? Like the timeline I'm trying to create. Can you see that?
Yeah, I don't think her past experience or her parents' experience is the catalyst for why she don't feel like she need a man. I think it's her ability to go and thrive on her own, open her own account, get a job, and bring in resources to build her own lifestyle is the catalyst for making her feel like she don't need a man.
He said, can it happen?
I mean, anything can. If you're asking, can anything, and anything that you say can happen.
Well, so the point I'm driving at is that the past usually informs the future, and when you see large segment blocks of people exhibiting specific behavior, there's usually catalysts that unite those things. Now, I don't believe that the wounds from that are healed to the point that 1920s came, we got over slavery, we became this immaculate family unit, moved forward, and then as soon as we got welfare, then that broke everything apart. I don't think that that's an accurate depiction of that story, but that's my personal opinion from some of the stuff that I've read. But I've seen the trajectory of watching multi-generational families and how things affect each generation and how those things, like, if the person doesn't break that link in that chain, be it they remove themselves from the family that's exhibiting these harmful things that they're imputing into them, and then they go reprogram and then move forward, or they go seek help and stay in that situation, but they have the tools to cope with whatever bad information has been put into them. That's why I think people focus so much on we need generational healing, or I live in my trauma, those things, because there clearly is something that's causing negative behavior, attitudes, or outlook. And without fixing that, you just fill up the cup of the person underneath you. You keep pouring each generation, pouring what they had into that next generation. Your parents leave, especially in the formative years, like positive or negative, a huge example or a huge impact on who you are as a person. It's the reason why we traditionally pass on language, speech, culture, religion, and food, right? It didn't just come from us deciding that this is what we're going to make this year. It has a story and a history that led us to that point. And those stories and histories, especially when we were talking about epigenetics a couple weeks back, those things have ties to the past that we either need to understand and figure out how to work past, or just figure out how to heal in general from whatever it is that's afflicting you, that's putting your mindset in the ways. Because let's just say slavery never happened and it all started at the 60s, right? It's like using your example of the Great Society. If we never had anything happen to us until the Great Society, and somehow welfare came and it made us lazy and broke us down, that would have an effect on that generation right after that, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but I don't think the inability to pour into the next generation is hindered by slavery or some system or some generation before that. I think it's the kid or the people that's come. I think the parents are telling these kids or telling the next generation to do this, and they're not doing it. I think it's all based on their individual, the fact that they can they can opt out of pouring into the next generation and worry about themselves. I think a large percentage of the people don't even care or not even thinking as soon as they come out of off of the graduation stage that I'm going to position myself to pour into the next generation. I don't even think that's a thought.
No, I don't think that they're intentionally doing that until they get to the point where they're ready
intentionally ignoring the fact that they probably should be positioning themselves to pour into the next generation. I think that they doing away with that whole entirely. And it ain't got nothing to do with it ain't got nothing to do with the past and nothing. It's just, I don't give a damn about that. I'm going to club. I'm going to go drink. I'm going to go bust it open. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. And then when I think about it, yeah, maybe I should pour into my kids. I think that's what's happening.
So I have a question. When y'all as men, because y'all have probably dated somebody else's girlfriend before, y'all have not been completely faithful to one woman. What is your excuses for not following the Bible? Y'all have lied. Y'all have done things that the Bible said don't do. So what were your reasons for doing that? It's because of the flesh. That's what happens at a certain age. And as you get older,
I gotta answer the question.
I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't, if I said that, I would still, if somebody asked me the question, why would you need God to reveal that if the Bible told you what you were supposed to do? My very first answer would be because I either one, I wasn't listening, or two, I didn't read, or three, I didn't believe. That would be my answer if somebody said, why was you doing wrong at the time and not listening? But I would not use the Bible, I would not use God. And then somebody says, why would you don't need God to tell you what's right from wrong. God already told you what's right from wrong through his word. How come you didn't listen to that? And that will be my answer to that question, is because I wasn't listening to God when I wasn't reading the Bible and I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do at the time.
I said I wouldn't.
Wait a minute. You asked. I wouldn't go and then say the Bible is written by man. Why would, like, what did you do about it? I would answer the question and be honest about it and say I wasn't listening to God when he told me what I was supposed to do in the word.
But to me, when you ask that question, you're asking about my thought process. So before I asked God to come into my heart, those were my thought processes. That's
why I asked the question. That's the reason why I asked the question. I didn't want to go off on a tangent. I just asked her when did you start following God because of that, because you weren't following for a while, because you were in sin for a while. That's why I said, when did you start following? That was my initial question.
Yes, gotcha.
So when did you start following completely? I guess I should ask.
I feel like I'm still working on it.
Okay. So you have brought up a point. You said God is going to send me the man and I'm going to know. I'm going to know because God is going to pray on him.
Yep, I'm going to pray on him.
You said I'm going to pray on him. I'm going to feel it.
Not just feel it. I'm going to check
my question. My question is, my question to you is, when you say that you're going to feel something, it I worry about you saying that. The reason I worry about that is because it seems like you think that God is like Santa Claus or somebody that doesn't have rules or regulations and who's going to whisper in your ear and give you everything you want. Men are not like gifts to women. It's a decision. It's a decision that you make to follow this man. And really
I don't
you need
think
your
he gonna
father.
give me everything
You
I
need
want,
your
though.
you need your father or a wali or like a representative to really vet for you, not you, because I don't think that you are capable of doing it yourself. I don't think that most women are capable of finding their own man.
Well, that's
honestly.
why you take them to your pastor and you get marriage counseling. You let your pastor vet them out too,
I'm kind of
especially when
curious
you're
about
about
what.
to get married.
Yeah,